The thing I was most afraid to do was actually to get my PhD. I was terrified. I was 100% convinced that I couldn't do it, that I wasn't good enough to get a PhD, which is strange because there I was at Harvard competing with the best kids in the country doing this thing. I went to MIT for graduate school, which is one of the best places in the world. But I think that there's this disconnect between what you feel inside and what you show the world. And for me, that disconnect was extremely big. It was almost like having anorexia of the brain. I was absolutely convinced that I could not do this. And I was absolutely terrified. I thought, I will fail. I will finally show the world that I will fail. And it was a very strange and difficult decision for me because everyone was telling me, of course you can do this. Are you crazy? This is, you don't get to these kinds of schools not knowing what you're doing. But how I felt was that I just fooled them all. By the time I get there and it comes to actually doing what it takes to get a PhD, which is to do independent research by yourself, I felt there was no way I was going to be successful at this. And in the end, of course, it's not really by yourself. You do the research, you've got an advisor, you've got other graduate students, you might have a postdoc who's working around with you or talking with you ideas, but you still have to be the one who does something, who contributes something really substantial to the whole effort of what your PhD is. So even if you're learning a lot from other people, they're not going to do anything for you. You have to do it yourself. So I was terrified, and I decided I was just going to go for it anyway. Partly because the opportunity presented itself and I got a fellowship to go, and it was a great thing to try, and maybe it wouldn't work out, but okay, I'll try. And partly because I just couldn't leave it. I loved it, even though I felt I was incapable of doing it. So getting my PhD was absolutely the scariest thing that I decided to do. And I did it. And it's funny because now I'm advising other people in getting their PhD. And, I see this insecurity is extraordinarily common, actually. Almost everybody who does math feels that they can't do it. And that's true for the people who are good at it and people who aren't good at it. Everybody feels like it's really hard. And it is probably one of the most complicated ways that a human being can think. So, but on the other side of it now, I can see, of course I could do it. But at the time, that's not how it felt.